We've ranked all 10 2023 Best Pictures nominated for the Oscars. Richard and I have the same exact ranking because we're clones.
Yep.
Yep.
It makes for a riveting podcast. Two people sharing the exact same opinion.
Isn't that great?
It's wonderful.
We want you to also comment down below what your ranking of the Oscar films are. And if you haven't seen all 10 of them, just rank what you have seen thus far. And don't worry, we're not going to get into too many spoilers. We're going to talk about the themes and the premise of the movies and why we love them so much or hate them so much.
But we won't get into the actual ending or any of the big twists from the movie.
Right. So with that being said, Richard...
Number 10?
Number 10 was...
Women talking. Now, I know what you're thinking. We're thinking, are we sexist? Probably a little bit. Probably a bit. This movie, it wasn't poorly directed. It wasn't poorly acted. But overall, the plot, the emotional investment into the movie was not very high. It had very sympathetic characters. So the movie basically is about a group of women in an Amish community, and they've been victimized. And so they have, I think, 2 days to talk and decide what they're going to do. Do they fight or do they run? And that's the movie. It's not a very compelling movie because I thought the answer to their problem was very obvious, and yet they took the whole movie to decide.
It's the only film on this list I can say that I was bored.
Yeah.
And because the decision making, where this movie, it seemed like they were taking inspiration from 12 Angry Men and M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. And this movie is also based on a true story. I think a little loosely. The actual trauma that happened is real, but it was based on something that happened in the 1950s in Bolivia, I believe.
Which would make far more sense than the context that the movie actually takes place.
Which is 2010. More modern. But the film's decision is they have 3 decisions, like you said at first. Either we forgive the perpetrators, which they toss out right away. So then the rest of the film is just focusing on, do we stay and fight them? Do we fight all the men? Or do we leave? And to us, we're sitting there going, one of those decisions is pretty obvious.
For both practicality reasons and also religious reasons, which, they're Amish, there's one option. And they took, an hour and a half to figure that out.
And then they did what we assumed they would do, and it was like, okay.
There's also my small gripe with the movie is they get it across pretty early on that this group of women were thoroughly and wrongly oppressed, where they're not allowed to go to school, they're uneducated, they don't know how to read, they don't know how to write. But when they talk very eloquently, and they have a good vocabulary, and they're able to actually articulately get their point across in a very educated manner. It just seems pretty inconsistent for the script to be written that way, and yet the characters described as very uneducated. It's a little strange.
The one movie we genuinely disliked on this list. Yeah. But number 9, what is number 9, Richard?
Avatar, Way of Water.
It was all right.
It was better than the first one.
Oh, for sure.
That's not singing praise of the movie, that's just because we didn't like the first one, so.
Way of Water, beautiful. Cinematography.
Oh, God. It will win some award when it comes to the cinematography of it. So
James Cameron again does it, and somehow this crossed the 2 billion mark. Soaring. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just it's Way of Water. If you like Avatar, you like Avatar.
Yeah, I mostly just had problems with the dialogue and the plot, the characters.
You're emotional.
All the stuff that could be negative probably was.
It's just all right. Okay, but number 8 on the list is Elvis. This is the one film that Richard has not seen, so I'll take over just for this one. Mm-hmm. Elvis was played by Austin Butler, and you have Tom Hanks, who plays the antagonist, which is Elvis Presley's manager. And the film focuses more on the manager than it does Elvis. It's really the manager's story. My biggest qualm why it's number 8 here, it's not a bad film. Again, it's a fine film, and the choreography is great. Austin Butler is Elvis. He is Elvis. Tom Hanks, it wasn't his best performance. I was a little disappointed, and him as the manager just didn't work for me. And you'll see this in reviews. Either Tom Hanks worked or Tom Hanks didn't. He didn't for me. And since you haven't seen the film, you have my opinion for this one.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
All right, so,
I assume your opinion.
Okay, good. The rest of these we've both seen. So you ready for number 7?
Yep. The Fabelmans, the biopic, another one, on
Steven Spielberg,
yeah. Which I was actually looking forward to. And after watching it, I was not disappointed, but it's certainly not the best. I think most people kind of agree with the opinion that the movie about Steven Spielberg, when he's actually showing how he's creating a movie, it's great, riveting, wonderful stuff. Everything about his family and all the drama side effects just doesn't work as well. So that was my overall take with the movie. Whenever it was just Spielberg working on some amateur film for the Boy Scouts, I was all there. I wanted a whole movie of him making a cowboy movie with the Boy Scouts. That would have been a great movie.
Yeah. I will say, a fantastic ending shot to the film. So we're in the top 7 now. The Fabelmans is definitely a decent movie. Solid movie.
Decent.
More positive. A lot of positives to say about it. But again, doesn't blow you away. I agree with everything you said again. This is fantastic. What is number 6, Richard?
Number 6 is Top Gun Maverick, the most American film of the year.
Wait, that's Home Depot.
That's also pretty American.
Top Gun. How freaking fun was Top Gun?
Top Gun, if this list was the most fun movie of the year, Top Gun takes it.
Oh,
because I would rewatch it again. It is just such a fun ride. The fact that the only CGI in the film is missiles instead of the actual plane. So every time you see someone in a plane flying, that plane is actually flying. They're actually doing all these stunts in a real plane. The only CGI they had to do was the missiles blowing up, which, that you kind of have to do that.
I didn't even know all the shots were planes flying. That's incredible.
All of them.
That's incredible.
Every single one. You know, the scene in the trailer with the Mark II of the Black Hawk flying over the hut, and the hut kind of explodes. That actually happened, but they went too low, and they broke the set, and so that was the one take.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Top Gun's so much fun. Tom Cruise, great, and it elevates the first movie in such a great way. It's between Maverick's character and Miles Teller's Rooster character. Relationship's phenomenal. The third act takes a little even extra twist that you didn't expect it to. The camaraderie's awesome. It gets you emotional during the piano scene, and
it's a masterclass on how to actually do a good sequel and to take legacy characters and bring them into the modern film repertoire, where so many other movie franchises take their legacy characters and really treat them like dirt and say, oh, hey, you don't...
Luke doesn't like lightsabers anymore.
Luke doesn't like lightsabers anymore. Hey, guess what?
He tries to kill Sith now.
James Bond is old now and sad. Let's get a new one in. Like, no one wants that. Or, oh, God. What are some of all the other
You know who
movies?
Doesn't fall into that trap?
Which one?
Who is your favorite fearless hero?
Hey, spoilers for other
Puss in Boots 2.
Okay.
If this was a list on 10 best picks plus Puss in Boots 2, we know which
I will say, if Puss in Boots 2 was on Best Picture list, I think it would have to take number 1.
Number 2.
Fine. Agree to disagree.
All right, that was number 6. What is number 5, Richard?
The Banshees of Inisherin, which is a very interesting film, but we're starting to get into the Oscar movies. Like, these films were made for the Oscars.
And they were great.
They were really good.
This one
made
was
me
great.
feel really pompous about myself. Like, I felt really...
In the club.
Exactly.
Oh, I like this film that
I felt like
Roger Ebert
stirring a martini or something.
Yeah.
I felt like I was high society. So the Banshees of Inisherin, if you don't know, without spoiling any twists, it takes place on a fictional island off the coast of Ireland. And at the same time, the Irish Civil War is going on, and it is a metaphor for that event. It is about two friends. One friend does not want to be friends with the other, and the extreme lengths that man will go to break their friendship. And so it deals with, of course, the metaphor of the Irish Civil War, but also the direct friction between friends and family and relationships and pursuing an
artistic goal
or your passion.
Yeah.
And I found that very interesting, that it has a opposite moral message than the Fabelmans in many ways. So very interesting. If you want to check out our video down below, we'll have it post somewhere where we talk about that exact dichotomy. But a very good film, well shot, well acted.
It's a dark comedy, which this director also made the film 3 Billboards Outside Ebbington, Missouri. Another great film. If those kind of dark comedies are for you, you'll like this film.
And now right into number 4, All Quiet on the Western Front, which we actually watched with our patrons on our monthly movie watch party. We also do our book club there as well. If you're interested in that, check out link in the description below, and you can help support us. But the movie itself, a very fun war movie. It is
Fun. Fun is the wrong word, probably.
Fun is maybe the wrong word.
It's definitely, I wouldn't say fun, I'd say just gripping.
Gripping's the better word, yeah. I had fun.
Man, I love watching good old people die.
It is a fairly standard war film. So there's in recent times there's been quite a few war films with some gimmicks. So the thing that comes to mind is 1917, where the big gimmick behind it is it's supposed to look like one long take. I don't think it breaks out of the bounds of any kind of gimmick.
It's the essential message of the film is, and people know this, it's All Quiet on the Western Front. It's a remake, and it's a 2022 version of the novel. War's horrible. And it shows you the folly of war, the pointlessness of it, and the best war to show that with is World War I on the Western Front. The essential message of the movie is just you're going trench to trench at the end of the war. Relatively speaking, barely any movement was made on the front.
Yeah, millions dead over feet of land.
There are some scenes that it's tough to look at the screen, and there are other scenes where your eyes can't go off the screen because it's just it's like watching a car wreck type of situation of, man, the makeup's phenomenal, cinematography is absolutely wonderful, really well-made film.
A very good war film, definitely worth checking out.
But now we're getting into the juicy top 3. This is no longer good movies, great movies. We're getting into the spectacular. And number 3, starting off with Tar, where Cate Blanchett stole the show.
I would not be surprised if she wins Best Actress for the Oscars this year. I think the edge still goes to
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah. But it's close.
She's phenomenal. The film tackles the theme of separating the art from the artist and some hypocrisy, and it all follows Cate Blanchett's character is a lesbian conductor who's at the top of her game, and slowly watches her personal decisions unfold and create a messy situation. And the film ends in an ambiguous way that makes you think. It is deep. It is a great thinker film, and it's one of those artistic films. So if you want to go to the theaters and just cheer and have fun, Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
If you want to go think and be like, wow, the dialogue was beautiful.
If you really want to look down your nose on other people and like, oh, I watched the Oscar films, and feel good about yourself, watch Tar.
You'll like this movie if you make top 10 lists on YouTube, basically.
I think a big part of it was the first 30 minutes is the test.
Oh yeah.
If you sit through the first 30 minutes, then you've earned the right to the movie.
Yeah.
And everything is well earned and deserved. But
great.
It's a weird beginning to the movie.
I loved it too. I loved it. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's fantastic. Well, what's number 2, Richard?
Number 2 was a huge surprise hit for me. Triangle of Sadness. Oh my God. This movie. Like,
whoa.
Oh my God.
Rotten Tomatoes has this at like a 70-something% audience and critics. IMDb has it at a 7.4. What are you all doing? This film is fan-freaking-tastic. It's fantastic.
It is an amazing film.
Incredible film. I love this film.
Oh my God. So I watched the trailer, and the trailer does not do it justice.
It's all right.
It's about some pretty boy in a magazine, and they're on a boat.
They're on a boat. Yep, something happens.
Okay, maybe it's about class struggle and wealth and inequality. Maybe. That's kind of what you get from the trailer. But then when you actually get to the movie, it's a movie in 3 parts of exploring hierarchy, where first part explores the hierarchy of beauty, the second, the hierarchy of money, and third, the hierarchy of skills.
A meritocracy.
Meritocracy. And what a wonderful take on a critique on both capitalism and socialism.
Marxism, specifically.
More specific, thank you. And beyond that, it has a critique on gender roles, money, meritocracy itself. It's a fantastic film. Honestly, Glass Onion can go suck a big one. The Triangle of Sadness is how you actually do political and social critique.
It's a social satire black comedy. Again, we love our black comedies.
Black comedies are great.
It's hilarious. There are scenes that you will cry laughing and scenes that you can't watch the screen because, man, it is just well done. Parts 1, 2, and 3, some people say, oh, it got worse over time. All 3 parts are great in their own right. And this film was just, it's not one of those artsy films that's just artsy and like Tar, no disrespect to Tar. Tar has a great ambiguous message and makes you think. Triangle Sadness makes you think and is also epically entertaining.
Oh, yeah. I was glued to my seat for this movie. And it just...
Fantastic.
Oh, God.
Fantastic.
Can't recommend it enough.
And the director, Ruben Östlund, is a master at whatever he does with the camera. The camera takes are gorgeous. Oh. The dialogue is shot perfectly. I'm going to watch all of his films.
Yeah.
He directs dialogue. It's not your typical change shot. He keeps takes going, makes every scene, and you can hear characters from a distance. Things are going on. The whole set, it's like a play, almost in a sense. But one thing he does between takes, on average for this film, it took Ruben, I believe, 23 takes to get it right.
Wow.
And the reason that is with his style is Ruben, the director, will take the actors and actresses during a scene, and he'll say, do it, 3, 2, 1, action, 3, 2, 1, action, 3, and then he'll get to the last 5, and he'll give everybody a warning saying, 5 more takes, everybody. 5 more takes. He'll go, take 5, 3, 2, 1, action. They'll do the scene. Take 4, 3, 2, 1, action. Take 3, same thing. Take 2, 3, 2, 1, action. Until the final take. He gets all the actor and actresses, he gets all the staff, and they watch the performers do their thing, and he gets out a giant gong. He takes a little thing to the gong and goes, last take, everybody. Hits the gong. Doom. And as soon as it fades, he says 3, 2, 1, action. Usually what he takes from the film is the last 2 to 1 takes because it hypes it up so much, the importance of those last takes, to where the actors and actresses act their butts off because he sets up the dynamic to make them perform their hardest. This guy's a genius when it comes to compelling actors and actresses to work well. He's a genius with editing. The music is edited perfectly, and I saw in an interview that he edited this film himself, which, if that's true, I bow down to you, sir, because I want to make sure I'm getting that information correctly. And I can't say enough about how this film was shot and how it made me feel, how it made you think, how it made you laugh, how it made you cringe. What a great film.
Oh, yeah. Both the critics and audience online are completely wrong about this film. I'm going to make that hard stance of this was a fantastic film. Everyone should watch it. I don't think it's going to win the many awards. I think this is the big Oscar snub.
It won at the Cannes in Europe. It's a big. We're not that into the awards yet. We're getting, but it won at the Cannes Festival. I'm saying that wrong probably, but he won back to back with his other film as well, The Square. So he's doing great in Europe.
Well, let's hope the Oscars actually can recognize him.
Yeah, let's hope so. Because man, what a film! Seriously. Yeah. And that was only number 2?
Number 1.
Oh.
Got to pass it over to you, bud. I know this is your film.
Number 1. Everything, Everywhere, All at...
Twice?
Once. This film changed me as a person. This film is why I exist now. When this film first came out, I was that guy. That was like, have you seen EEAO? Have you seen EEAO? I was that annoying little sycophanted that I think we have to block that out. But I was that guy. Everything Everywhere All at Once is everything I love about movies. It is crazy and takes risks. It has a great message. It made me cry of laughter, cry of sadness. It tackles nihilism, and it tackles that in the best way of using a multiverse, having this great world building, amazing plot, and it seems so big. There's all these different multiverses, but it is so narrowly focused on a family drama and still comedy, and it attaches you to the characters. So while there's all these endless possibilities and endless universes, it still draws you in and narrows the scope so that you truly care, and the message hits and everything hits, and it hits all at once.
changed my opinion on the movie before because I remember coming out of the theater itself not loving one of the main characters. And I've come around on it. I'm not as enthusiastic as you because I think it's one of your favorite films ever.
Yeah.
But for the Oscars, I think it's a close margin for me, but I still think Everything Everywhere All at Once is the number one Oscar pick coming into this year.
This one probably will win it.
Probably. And also, what a timing it had. Where this movie and Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness came out really close to each other. What a beatdown. Showing Marvel how to actually do a multiverse film. It is definitely the best take on the multiverse concept.
Ever.
It's a very difficult challenge to do for any medium, and they did it the best.
That ends and concludes our top 10 ranking. Please let us know what yours was. If you want to watch the movies with us, like Richard said, we've got a Patreon down below where we do movie watch parties, book read-alongs every month, game nights as well. The only negative is you have to hang out with us. But that's been all, folks.
The price that you have to pay.
Yes. Now, we're signing off for now.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.